All right, there is a look at the Godfather, Marcelo Bielsa, the head coach of Uruguay, who yesterday had a feisty press conference. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But regardless of this game's results, the 15-time Copa America champion Uruguay will have its best finish in this tournament since 2011. So they got that going for them. And here's the other coach for the opposing team. Canada, the American Jesse Marsch also had a feisty press conference. We'll get into that and much more, along with these players, Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, world-class talent at their disposal. Can they get a result? Can they continue to make history in their first ever Copa America tournaments? We'll talk about that and so much more on your favorite show on the internet, Fox Soccer Now.
Otamendi to send them to the semifinals.
Yes!
My goodness, do these guys know how to get it done, no matter how.
22-year-old plays now for Watford. Kone steps up. Kone, goal! Oh, Canada! They're going through! Good win for Canada, big win for Jesse Marsch.
Can now win the shootout for Uruguay with this kick. Yes! Uruguay beat Brazil in the penalty shootout. Now the ball in behind, Luis Diaz! Scores! The Panama back three, caught napping, Diaz in behind, and this time he shows a clinical edge.
All right, there is a look at the Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, the home of this big game, this big third-place game in Copa America between Canada and Uruguay. A lot to talk about in this one. I'm excited that this tournament actually has a third-place game. What's happening with you, Euro 2024? You chicken? Why aren't you having a third-place game? It could have been Netherlands and France earlier today. And welcome in to Fox Soccer Now, presented by Geico. Whatever you need, get more with Geico. I'm excited to be here with you. I'm Jimmy Conrad, and let's just get into the bracket, shall we? Because it's nice and pretty, and there's a big, giant screen next to me. And this is what's played out for these respective teams. Canada getting out of their group, surprisingly, had to face Argentina again, who they lost to 2-0 in the group, ended up losing to them again 2-0. They find themselves in the third-place game. And then Uruguay actually had a little bit of a tougher road, took down the U.S. Yeah, I'm not too happy about that. We can talk about the U.S. a little bit later. They end up getting into the knockout rounds. They beat Brazil 0-0. Well, they don't beat them 0-0, but they beat them in penalties after drawing 0-0. And then they take on Colombia, lose that one 1-0, despite being a man up for 45 minutes. So now they drop into the third-place game as well. They're rolling out a top team. So kind of curious to see how they respond, especially because there was an incident after the game where some of the players went into the stands. We're going to get into that and so much more. But I'm not doing it by myself. I got the one and only Leicester City captain, Jamaican international Wes Morgan with me. What's up, Wes?
What's happening, Jimmy?
Good to see you as always.
Good to see you.
So third-place game. I'm excited for it. This is going to be pretty good. And one of the reasons why is that both of these managers managed Leeds. Marcelo Bielsa did it, and then Jesse Marsch took over for him, and now they both don't manage Leeds anymore. They both got sacked. But we've got an ex-Leeds manager derby on our hands, and I've got plenty of time for it.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about this game?
Yeah, well, like you said, battle of the former managers of Leeds. This game, it's a good game to finish on a high in the tournament. Third place is, it's an opportunity to probably maybe test some players that you've not been tested. But I think overall you want to finish on a high. You've got to this stage. You don't want to just, go home and say, well, that's done and dusted. We didn't achieve nothing. There's an opportunity to get a third-place finish, which is fantastic.
No, I remember back in the World Cup in 2014, I was there. I saw Brazil lose to Germany 7-1, if you remember that game. Crazy game. And then they limped into the third-place game where they took on the Dutch, and they didn't even try. They lost that one. I'm like, wow, you could have had something out of that. You could have gotten a third place and had some pride there, but they clearly didn't take advantage of that. So I'm curious to see which team is really going to go for it, or if both of them are going to go for it in this one. But let's talk about Uruguay a little bit, because as I teased a little bit earlier, in case you didn't see, there was an incident after their game against Colombia where some of the players went into the stands, which obviously is a huge no-no for a lot of different reasons. But they felt justified and validated because their families were under threat. There was a fight that had happened, and that kind of spilled into the family section. And so the players went in there, and there were some newborns there as well. So I can get their reaction to that. But there's so many questions I have as to how that's going to be handled by CONMEBOL and potentially FIFA moving forward. Right now, none of the players are suspended, but that doesn't mean they won't be suspended in the future. I understand that desire to want to protect your family, especially after an emotional loss. There was a fight right after the game, too, if you remember that, right? Yeah. So they were already kind of on on edge, and then when they maybe hear and see that there's something happening in the family section, of course you're going to run over there and try to make stuff happen or solve some problems if you can. But some of it led to throwing some fists, and I wanted to get your thoughts on that situation.
Yeah, unsavory scenes, you know, we don't want to see that. When we first saw the pictures, we couldn't understand what was going on. From the initial reaction from us is, what are the players doing? Going into the stands, having a fight with which seemed like the Colombian fans. And was like, is that a reaction to the loss? And then once things settled down, we heard a few interviews. We understood that the players had gone there to protect the family. And I think, you know, any one of us would do the same thing. You know, if you see your loved ones under can be under pressure,
right?
yeah, under duress or being challenged in some type of way, you want to go there and protect. And yeah, on one side you think, right, the players shouldn't be doing that regardless, but on the other side you think you can understand why they would go and try and help their family. And I'm sure there's going to be an investigation. You know, who knows what the consequences of that will be. We understand that the players are still okay to play this match, which is great because we want to see that. But in terms of moving forward, I think some strong measures need to be put in place so that don't happen again.
Well, there was an interview that happened after the game with Uruguayan captain Jose Jimenez. Let's hear what he had to say about this.
Me van a cortar porque sé que te quieren cortar. Que por favor tengan cuidado, porque las familias están en la tribuna. Nos hizo una avalancha a toda nuestra familia, la hinchada de un cierto sector de Colombia, y no nos dejan hablar en el micrófono. Lo voy a decir ahora porque sé que lo puedo decir, porque si no te cortan. Esto es un desastre, esto es un desastre. Nuestra familia corrió peligro. Tuvimos que meternos como pedo para arriba de la tribuna a sacar a nuestros seres queridos con bebés chiquitos recién nacidos. Un desastre todo, no había un solo policía, cayeron a la media hora. Un desastre. Y nosotros ahí dando la cara por nosotros, por lo nuestro. ¿Tá? Ojalá que los que están organizando esto tengan un poco más de cuidado con las familias, con la gente y con los alrededores de los estadios, que es todo un desastre porque todos los partidos pasa lo mismo. Nuestras familias están sufriendo por culpa de algunos que se toman dos traguitos de alcohol que no saben tomar, que se comportan como unos niños y no son decentes. ¿Tá? Ojalá que tengan precaución en los próximos partidos y que no vuelva a suceder esto porque es un desastre.
You can tell how passionate he is and emotional about the situation. Yeah. And they had just lost. And I think because there was a fight, it was heavily, you know, there was just so much going on. And then when you see that, I think it's just going to set you off.
Yeah.
And I think that there probably was some information that he received that, hey, somebody said something to our families. We got to go over there and solve it. Marcelo Bielsa, actually, the manager, had to address it in the press conference yesterday, and he took the opportunity to say, if there's any issues that should be happening, any investigating, it's more about where was the security. Why wasn't there more security to solve this problem? And if any statements need to be made, it should be them apologizing to the Uruguayan team for even allowing that situation to happen. Marcelo Bielsa then went on to basically trash the fields, and not to say they were in good condition, but he took that opportunity to really kind of lay into the professionalism of the tournament needs to be better in all areas, both on and off the field. So a lot to unpack with that in particular. But speaking of Marcelo Bielsa, let's get into the tail of the tape. As I mentioned, both of these managers have coached Leeds before, so why don't we compare them? They have a track record of different types of success, and Bielsa is known as the godfather with regard to coaching in general. Pep Guardiola in particular, who is considered the best manager in the world, absolutely worships Marcelo Bielsa and his ideas and philosophies of the game. Jesse Marsch, still relatively young in this space and just starting his international career with Canada right now. But as you can see, their win percentage at Leeds, a little different. Their international win percentage a little different, but the last line, I think, is the most important. Bielsa's got 24 more years of experience, and I think it's shown so far in this tournament as well.
Yeah, you know, 34 years as a manager, that's tons of experience. You know, he would have seen the highs and lows. He knows how to handle players in depth, handle situations, football matches, and, you know, watched him closely at Leeds. The way he got his team to play, that don't just happen overnight. That's training all the time, implementing your ideas and what you expect. And the way Leeds played, oh man, it was man-to-man, high intensity, high octane football. And from the sidelines, you was thinking, this can't be sustainable, you know, but it worked. He was very successful, got them promoted. And then obviously Jesse Marsch, you know, there's a big difference in the tail of the tape there. Obviously a lot less years in terms of managing and win percentages, but he's learning, he's growing. With this Canada team, he's done fantastic. So he's only going to get better and better. So I'm looking forward to see what he becomes in the future.
Yeah, what's interesting is that when Bielsa did end up getting sacked from Leeds, it was Jesse that took over and then kept them up. And then it was the following season where Jesse struggled and ended up getting sacked. So they should write a book about that whole phase of Leeds at some point. I'm sure they will. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. The fact that Jesse, who they've only scored 2 goals so far in this tournament. Let's just talk about Canada overall, because not only is it pertaining to this, but also looking forward to 2026. They've only scored 2 goals so far in this tournament, which is the lowest of any of the quarterfinalists. They've given up more shots than any other team in this competition as well. But yet there's still something about them. There's like a spark of excitement that you're starting to see what they're capable of. It's just a matter of, can they maintain that for a 90-minute game, which I don't think we've seen a 90-minute version of them just yet.
Yeah, we've followed them closely throughout this tournament, and every time we've gone over the same subject, where's the goals? They're struggling for goals. And when we look at their team, there's plenty of goals in the team, but in front of the goal, it's not quite happened. Somehow they've got to, the 3rd place playoff game. And credit to them, they've had to, it's not by luck you get to that stage. They've had to beat some tough opponents. Like you said, done better than the US.
Okay. Come on, Wes. No, I hurt my feelings, No, but you're right. And actually, speaking of Jesse and the US, I talked about feisty press conferences before. Let's hear what Jesse had to say about the open job for the U.S. men's national team.
Canada will play the United States in Kansas City in the fall. Which sideline will you be on?
Come on, man. I'm not leaving this job. I have no interest in the U.S. job. And to be fair, unless there's a big shift in the organization, I don't think that I'll ever have interest in that job in the future. So I'm really happy here. I couldn't be happier, actually, in terms of what it's like to work with the leaders in this organization and what it's like to work with this team.
Feels like a flamethrower right there. Jesse's like, whatever to U.S. soccer. Just, gonna burn any bridges that I had if he has any remaining. But he did get interviewed. To give everybody some context, he did get interviewed for the job before they rehired Greg Berhalter. And from all intents and purposes, he thought he had it. And then he didn't. And some of the interview processes that they went through, he was apparently under the gun for like 36 hours to answer all these questions and do all these battery of tests. And so I think there's there's clearly a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, there's a bit of a bitter taste. You can tell, you can feel it in that interview there. Very interesting to hear when he said there needs to be some changes in the organization for him to consider the job. So it's quite telling, that interview.
Yeah, I want him to name names. Name names, Jesse. You can do the blanket general. We got to change stuff at the top is something, but I want some names moving forward. Maybe he'll get there at some point. But let's take a look at Canada's starting 11 for this game. Who is Jesse going to roll out? Is he going to make any changes from their 2-0 loss to Argentina? That is the big question. And actually, I'm just going to tease it. He actually makes 6 changes, Wes. 6 changes to the team, and a lot of them are players that have 5 or less appearances for their country. Dane St. Clair, you can see there, plays for Minnesota United. Oluwasi up top, who's a top young talent. He plays for Minnesota United as well. So are you surprised by these changes? That's one. And then who's your player to watch?
Yeah, I am surprised, actually. Like we spoke about, it's to finish 3rd in this big tournament, is a brilliant accomplishment, especially for Canada. But my player I'm talking about is Moises Bombito. He's 24, plays centre-back for Canada, plays his club football at Colorado Rapids. He has 10 caps now for Canada. He's played every game. He's been a solid and consistent performer. It was interesting to see him against Argentina and how he compared against the top-level players. I don't think he did struggle, but I think he's relatively young in terms of playing against that type of opposition. So I can see good signs that he's going to grow and be better. He's had a lot of interest from other teams, European teams. Lyon apparently had a bid rejected for $4 million. So he's got a promising future and he's a key player for the Canadians.
Yeah, I'm excited about him as well. I think he's got a super bright future. I, though, am going to talk about the Canadian Messi, Jacob Schaffelberg. Yes, I love his game. He's fearless. He likes to run forward. He's tries to make things happen every time he gets it. And I think he's been very dangerous no matter who the opponent has been, whether it's been Argentina or whether it's been Venezuela or Peru or Chile. anytime he got onto the field, I thought he made a difference. He started this tournament, Wes, as a super sub and then earned his spot as a starter. Now, tonight, he won't have Alphonso Davies behind him. He's going to have Richie Larea behind him. So will that change how they attack, where he picks up the ball? Because Larea can also get forward, just like Alphonso Davies. So it'll be interesting to see how impactful he can be in this game. And can they score a goal? They need to score more goals just in general. And this could be tough because Uruguay, let's take a look at their starting 11. Uruguay is absolutely stacked. You know, we thought at some point when they won their first 2 games of the group stages that maybe they would change their lineup against the U.S., and they did not change a thing. So I don't know why I was surprised when Marcelo Bielsa didn't change any part of his lineup here. He makes 3 changes, I should say, but ultimately it's guys that are coming back into the team who were either hurt or serving a card suspension. So Nandez, who had a red card, comes back into the team. You have Maxi Araujo up at the top left, and then Matias Vina comes in at left back as well. This is a very, very, very good team and a lot more experience than what we just saw with Canada. Wes, who stands out for you?
Yeah, I'm going to go Fede Valverde. Plays in that 8 role in the centre midfield there. Plays for Real Madrid. Joined them in 2018. He's played a lot of games for Madrid. 258 games. Got 21 goals, 23 assists. But he's not really known for his goals and assists, to be honest. He's known for his work rate in midfield. He's the heartbeat of the Uruguay team. He's happy to tackle, intercept, and pass and move and keep things ticking over. He's an ideal player for Bielsa. He loves that type of player, you know, box to box, hard-working, grafting player, and someone who has been a great player in this tournament for the Uruguays.
I'll be honest, Wes, if I could come back and do it all over again, I would try to be like Fede Valverde. I just think he's got an incredible engine. He can go box to box. He can score goals. He scored a great one for Real Madrid in the Champions League, that volley to the back post. So good, so spicy. I love his game, and obviously he does the defensive work as well. I'm going to talk about Liverpool's Darwin Nunez, though, because he doesn't miss chances often. I'm just kidding. He misses chances all the time, but that's part of his charm. And what's interesting about him is that he has the most shots and touches in the opposition's box this tournament, as you can see, and he's just dangerous. He's in and around everything. All the action that's happened in the attacking third, he's had some kind of involvement in it, and I really love his game as well. And now if he can just figure out how to have a little bit more composure in that last moment, we're talking about him going from sometimes world-class to consistently world-class. And I really love what he brings to the table. And to your point about Fede Valverde, I think he really fits in well with how Marcelo Bielsa, his manager, likes to play. So he's going to get some chances tonight. And that's because Canada have given up more shots in this tournament than any other team. And Uruguay have taken more chances or taken more shots than anybody. And I think that's a nice opportunity for him to score some goals. So let's get into picks, Wes. Who do you like in this game and why?
Yeah, looking at the game, or looking at the lineups, a few
Pretty
changes.
one-sided, yeah,
the changes for Canada. Who knows what type of team performance they're going to put out, and Uruguay, you know, the consistent, you know exactly what you're going to get from them. I think the result's going to be 2-0 to Uruguay, and I think that's because Uruguay is so strong, and Canada got some changes in the team, so who knows how they're going to perform.
That's the thing, and that's where I'm going to give Canada a goal, Wes. I think that because Uruguay might not be as familiar with some of these young players, they can maybe sneak a goal. I don't know when that's going to happen. Ultimately, though, I have Uruguay winning 3-1 because that lineup they put out is so ridiculous, and I just think that they are going to want to finish the tournament on a high note. I think that's going to be very important for them to go out and get a result and have their best finish since 2011. I think that's going to be important for Marcelo Bielsa as they build to 2026. All right, so we are finished for now, us talking, that is. Keep it here to watch the game for the first 5 minutes, and then we'll catch up with you afterwards. We'll break down everything you need to know. We'll start to do previews for the big finals that are happening tomorrow. But now we're going to throw it over to JP Dellacamera and Kobe Jones for the call of this match. Enjoy the game. Best of luck to both teams, and we will see you afterwards. Thanks for hanging out. Fox Soccer Now for life. Wow.
Suspended Nicolas de la Cruz. Uruguay will be in the light blue with the black numbers. Marcelo Bielsa is their head coach. The Canadians will be in their familiar red. I mentioned Richie Larea. Saw him wearing the captain's armband. He's playing in place of the injured Alphonso Davies. We were told that tests on Davies were negative for a foot injury, but we were not sure if he was going to play at all tonight. Canadians standing over the ball inside the center circle. Countdown is underway. Third place game, who's going to win it? Canada or Uruguay? Uruguay making just the 2 changes. The Canadians 6 from their last game versus Argentina. Underway with Canada on the ball. Lorea pushing it back. Lorea can play a number of different positions. We'll send it back to St. Clair. His Copa debut. Lorea, left sideline, looking for room. Got it forward. A little shade. Several players making their starting debuts for the Canadians. Cleared away by Rochette. Uruguay has been so good in this tournament, but not as good, Kobe, the last couple of games. They thought they were going to get to the final and should have, right? They had a man up against Colombia the other night. Couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, and even with the whole Bielsa ball and that high press, it just didn't work out. You know, you almost tend to think that red card that Colombia received changed the whole makeup of the game and maybe went against that high press that Uruguay likes to put on, because you saw Colombia drop in and just make things very difficult and very tight.
Pena goes backwards. It's taken away. Oluwaseyi tried to slide it through. It was knocked out. It's a throw-in for Canada.
Well, take a look at this. As we talk about Marcelo Bielsa and his Bielsa ball, and it's all about that high press. Well, guess what Jesse Marsch is known for as well? You know, the exact same type of thing. And we're seeing it right off the bat as Canada is on the front foot, pushing numbers forward to get after the ball.
Long Johnston throw in, deflects out, waiting for the signal. That's a late signal, but ruled a corner. Jesse Marsch, by the way, succeeded Marcelo Bielsa at Leeds, so they do have a little bit of a history there, and they are 2 names that have been mentioned in the past with the USA national team job when it was open, and could be mentioned again as that job is currently open. First corner. Schaffelberg on the side. They could go short. They've got a player nearby. Instead, an in-swinging ball. A slip there. Bombito was looking for it. And it's going to go out. Osorio was the closest one to it. It's a throw-in for Uruguay. Hernandez back from a red card suspension. Got that in the Brazil game. He's been good in this tournament. Very steady as the right back.
And I think that was a player that Uruguay really missed when they were going against Colombia within that last match. He's such a leader on that side and really shuts down the whole right.
Schwannier's pass. Schaffelberg tackled away. And there was Hernandez. Good job.
This is a little bit different than what we see, you know, for Uruguay. Look at that. Look, that tackle just, I think it was Lorea that just goes over the top and his foot ends up going on to the ankle of Darwin Nunez.
Canada's second corner, this one from this near side. It is Schwannier to take it. An MLS All-Star in 2023. Driven to the middle, and it deflects out. First to the ball is Lorea. He'll send it right back from where it came. That's headed away. And out for Canada, throw in.
Well, take a look here who's on the front foot. You know, Canada has consistently kept the ball, and yes, it's only been 4 minutes. But when you're playing against Uruguay, that is something different that Uruguay hasn't seen for a lot of these games that they've played in. They're the ones usually dictating the pace of the match.
Long Johnson throw in, deflects to the middle, and it gets clear. Nunez is after it. Lorea had the better angle, goes back to St. Clair. St. Clair's first start since he started the first game when Jesse Marsch took over as head coach. That was a 4-0 loss against the Netherlands. Maxime Crépeau has started the last 6. Bombito is played every minute. Ball is lost, but Canada will have a throw-in.
Yeah, Bombito gets a little bit lucky there. Just a poor pass right in the back, gives it away. But then, you know, one poor pass after the other kind of saves the day for Mrs. Bombito.
This is Richie Lorea, his club team, Toronto FC. There are 8 starters on Canada that play in MLS, 14 on their roster from Major League Soccer. It's off Ahmed. Araujo's pass denied. Araujo has been a star for Uruguay, one of their best players. Over the top, and that's too long. They're looking for Schaffelberg, and that's Vigna, who's down. He got whacked in the ankle.
Yeah, Vigna just comes in, you know, from behind, gets to the ball first, and ends up getting a little bit of a love tap on the ankle there.
So Vigna in the first game had a goal and an assist in their opening win against Panama. Johnston goes short. Nunez, take it away. No whistle, now the whistle. And an early card is coming out. Our match referee, Alexis Herrera from Venezuela. And it goes against the teenager, the Figueroas.
We get a look, just comes in late, doesn't even come close to the ball. And as you said, JP, the young man, 18 years old, this is a big setting here. You know, the first start for Canada. Probably got to think about it early on in a situation like this, picking up a yellow card. Now you got to play a little bit safe for the rest of the match, let alone giving up a set piece right outside your 18 area.
Call it 27 or so yards away from goal. In the 8th minute, Uruguay with a chance to strike. That's blocked. Last touch by Canada, so it is a corner. Their first. Valverde will take it. In swinger. It's not a down. The turnaround shot. Goal! Bentancur's second of the tournament.
And it's a set piece. And Bentancur wide open. No one steps to him. And once again, the Figueroas just late to step out. You can't allow players of this caliber and quality to have basically a free shot. It goes right to him. He's able to bring that down first time in a no-look shot. You know, and to be fair, you would expect St. Clair to do a little bit better with that one as he drops down. The ball goes directly over his head. There's just a little bit of a slow reaction by the Figueroas and by St. Clair.